Hi, and welcome back. Thanks for joining me today. Sorry it's been a while since my last video, but I have a lot going on right now. But glad to be back. And I wanted to answer a question that's been bothering me or try to figure this out. I have my NANO VNA. I have my old analog SWR power meter, and I have my antenna tuner and SWR meter. And what's been bothering me is I get a much higher SWR reading on the built-in SWR meter, my antenna reader, and I also get a little higher reading on my NANO VNA than I do on my analog SWR meters. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook up, I have a 5-watt dummy load, and we're going to try to figure out which one is more accurate. We're going to hook up the dummy load, and the dummy load should give us an SWR reading of right around 1. So let's go ahead and look how we're going to do this and get started. Alright, so we have my patch cable here. I don't know what I did with my other patch cable. So I broke open an old Radio Shack 2 feet. Not the best heavy duty cable, but it should do for our purposes here. First thing we're going to do is we're going to hook up the dummy load to our NANO VNA, and we're going to check our SWR, and we should get an SWR reading of around 1. So let's go ahead and hook this up. There's our dummy load. We're going to have to use some of our converters here. And let's hook up to the NANO VNA. Make sure everything's good and tight. Looks good. Let's go ahead and maybe zoom in on this so we can read it. Read the meter here. And let's go ahead and turn it on. And I have the 11 meter band already programmed in here, so let's go ahead and go there. And let's also set our scale. Make it the division of 0.25. Show the grid. And there we go. And if we look at our meter here, or the VNA here, we can see our SWR is 1.088, and we have a flat line across the scale here. Across the grid here. So that shows us our SWR is flat all the way across the 11 meter band, which we want it to be with our dummy load. So let's remember that. We have a SWR of 1.088. All right, first thing we're going to test is we're going to test it going through the antenna tuner with no tuning done. We are not using an amp on this. So it is going through the amp. It's also going through a low pass filter also. Now, I'm not sure if I can hook, I'm not real familiar with NANO VNA, but I don't think I want to put any power through that. I don't think it can take it. But what I did show was that this dummy load is, with it installed in the line, our SWR is around, 1.088. All right, so we have we have the antenna tuner on, and we have it hooked up to our 5-watt dummy load. So let's go ahead and turn on our antenna tuner. And let's check out our SWR when we key our microphone. And we can see our SWR is right around 1.05. And that's pretty close to the 1.08. So that shows me, at least running the coax here, that those two readings are pretty accurate. All right, next we have the dummy load hooked up to our old analog SWR meter. And let's first make sure it's still calibrated. Okay. And let's check our SWR reading. And barely moving. Now we have the analog meter hooked up to our Solarcon A-99 antenna with 97 feet of coax. Now I know this antenna, my Solarcon A-99, is channel 1 is the lowest SWR reading I get. So we're going to set it on channel 1. And let's go ahead and key it. And we're just shy of 1.1 on our SWR. Let's see what our wattage shows. Shows right around 3 watts. So let's go ahead and hook up the antenna tuner and see what we get. All right, we have the antenna tuner on channel 1. And let's see what kind of SWR we got. Remember, on the analog meter, we are getting around 1.1. So right around 1.1, 1.09. And we're getting around 3, from the antenna, we're getting around 3.1 watts. So that's very similar. All right. So a summary of our readings. We first hooked up the NANO VNA to our dummy load, and we had a reading of, let's see here, we had a reading of 1.088, or pretty close to 1.1. Then what we did with the dummy load, we tried it on our analog reading hooked up to the Antron, or the Solarcon Antron A-99, and we had a reading of just below 1.1, so almost 1.1. Then again, with the antenna hooked up, we hooked it up to our antenna tuner, and we had a reading of 1.1. So everything was pretty close to each other. I mean, just very close. So I would say all of these are very accurate. You're probably going to get a more precise reading with an electronic one. And the NANO VNA, I hear, from what I read, is very, very accurate. Gives you really good, accurate readings. And I haven't really read any reviews on this ATU 100 EXT, how accurate the SWR, but it was right in the ballpark of our other meters. One thing I do notice, they start when I go up to the upper bands, like 38, where my SWR isn't as low. I do tend to get a little bit higher readings on my antenna tuner and my NANO VNA. So they tend to show a little higher reading than the analog. But for accuracy purposes, I think I would probably go with the Nano and the antenna tuner as being more accurate. So there you have it. I do need, I mean, I'm pretty much acceptable in my range, but it does go up to around 1.3, 1.4 on 38. I'd like to try to bring that down a little. But anything below 1.5, you're not really going to notice. Even a little above 1.5, you're not going to notice. But I'm kind of a perfectionist, and I want to try to bring the SWR down a little bit more. So I might play with the coax and maybe try a different coax and see what happens. Because I did notice when I first hooked up the antenna with 50 feet of coax, my SWR was, it seemed to be a little bit lower. So there you have it. Kind of a, kind of a test here of the different meters to show you that they all kind of agree with each other. So thanks for watching. Thanks to all my new subscribers. I'm glad you liked my channel. If you don't subscribe, please hit that subscribe button. I'd love to have you follow me. And thanks to all my existing subscribers. So thanks again, and I will try to get some more videos out sooner instead of waiting 2 to 3 weeks. So again, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.